What are the key principles that we see running, the valuable key principles running through these traditions?
Yes. From one point of view, I could simply, without putting on my more elaborate theorizing as of today, but simply enumerating things that cannot be denied.
Wonderful.
One dimension is quieting the mind and moving through this inner quiet or inner silence to inner peace. That's a dimension of its own, unquestionably. Another, love. Cuts across religious traditions. No question, it's a dimension in itself. You're supposed to become a better person, and to the extent that you aspire to it, you're likely to go in that direction. There are many ways to achieve it, but essentially, one of the directions of the work is love. Another is wisdom. In higher Buddhism, more important than meditation is Dharma, the understanding of the great view, of the right attitude, right? Sophia, Gnosis.
Right.
You approximate that, and even meditation becomes mostly that in higher teachings of Buddhism. It's like you sustain the view, and that is to meditate. If you are wanting to see, if wisdom is to get rid of what's not important and be detached and see the world as a dream, as if from afar, well, that is meditation, to not just talk about it, but to look at of whatever is happening now as if it were a dream.
Right.
And it's an idea, but the idea becomes a reality when you put it into action in some way by confronting experience with it or processing experience through that view. So, what else? I have often emphasized that if you look at the world religions, there's something missing. That patriarchy is antagonistic to animal nature, to instinct. It would seem that our instinctual nature is the culprit of our weaknesses. And the distinction is not made that one thing is the body and instinctual nature or the animal self, and a very different thing is the realm of the passions. Passions are not instinct.
Right.
The realm of the sins, the realm of the destructive emotions, as the Dalai Lama calls them in one of his books with the Goleman. Envy, pride, anger, these are not instinctual. They are derivatives of blocked instinct. They are results of the vicissitudes of instinct, to use Freud's expression. So I think that's original to psychotherapy, the liberation of the animal, the liberation of our organic desires, the decriminalization of desires, because since our culture is a culture of domestication, do you say? We learned to domesticate animals, but we started domesticating our own offspring, and we are a self-domesticating species.
That's right.
And this behind this is an implicit antagonism to spontaneity, to the voice of desire, to the voice of pleasure.
Right.
Pleasure is made into an enemy of the spirit. And there is a confusion there. I think, I suspect that when patriarchy asserted itself, it imposed the religion of heaven, the religion of transcendence, making the religion of earth, the religion of fertility and vitality and desire and spontaneity, the religion of nature, in other words, making it wrong. The earliest Greek religion was Dionysian, and Dionysus was the same god as Shiva in India. I think it's very clear now in historical perspective. I think the clearest was the fact that when Alexander the Great came to India, the initiates, the Dionysian the initiates in the Dionysian mysteries met the so-called gymnosophists of India, and they recognized that they were into the same world.
A great meeting.
Yes.
A great meeting. I would have liked to be there.
Right. So Dionysus became a marginal god.
Right.
After that. But there was a secret understanding between the Dionysians and the Apollonians, because there were two kinds of mysteries. The mysteries, sometimes they have been called the minor mysteries and the major mysteries, the mysteries of self-knowledge and the mysteries of rebirth and death and rebirth, the Eleusinian mysteries.
The Eleusinian mysteries, yeah.
And the tomb of Dionysus was in the temple of Apollo. There are many ways in which there are indications that there was these two gods were one behind the scenes, or two poles of the same understanding that needed to be developed, or two stages in a development. The Greeks saw the Egyptian counterparts in Osiris and Horus. Osiris is saw as Dionysus, and Horus as Apollo. And Horus is like the bird that holds the snake in the beak. Ultimately, it's more like the beginner in shamanism. Let's go, and it's all over the place. It's a more basic thing, and the more advanced shaman is more Apollonian. Has gone through the romantic phase and into a classical, and so his trance is not even visible to others. It's more collected. So it's this principle of Apollo of nothing in excess seems to be the contradiction of the Dionysian, which is pure excess, but in another way is kind of greater maturity that comes not through control, not through repression, but through kind of natural peacefulness.